saaka waxa deegaanka Soomaalida looga waabaristay daraf ilaa daraf barnaamijyo nabadeed oo looga soo horjeedo waxa shacabka deegaanka ay ugu yeereen xasuuqa dawladda canfarta ay ku hayso shacabka xoolo dhaqatada ee ku dhaqan deegaanada galbeed ee gobolka City iyo eedeymaha dhabta ka fog ee isirnaceebka sal ku haya ee laga baahinayo warbaahinta dalka magaalada Shiniile ee xarunta gobolka City oo saaka aanu jarmaado ku tagnay ayaa waxa bartamaha magaaladaasi isugu soo baxay kumanaan kamid ah qiimaha kala gedisan ee bulshada ku dhaqan magaaladaasi iyagoo si maamuus leh u maray wadada weyn ee dhexmarta magaaladaasi tan iyo inta ay ka gaarayeen barxadda xafiiska maamulka gobolka City halkaas oo isugu soo aruureen
waxaan isugu soo baxnay waxaan diidanahay oo si cad uga soo horjeednaa xasuuqa ka dhacaya ee canfartu sidaan ka soo horjeednaa banaanbaxaan soo banaanbaxnayna wuxuu ku saabsan yahay xasuuqa lagu wada dadka shacabka ayaan diidanahay waan ka soo horjeednaa canfartu ha joojisaan leenahay
waxaan soo banaanbaxnay dhiigga sida sharci darrada ay u daadinaysa canfartu ee dhul ay lahayn ay ku soo xadgudubtay ee gobolka City 60 kiilo soo gashay ayaan soo banaanbaxnay waxa kale leenahay dhulka yaga ciidi ma ogolna anagu ciidi ma ogolna meelay leedahana ma doonayno wala hadal lama diidno hadday ka bixi weeday faraha ay kala laaban weedo dhulka yaga waa lagu dhiman waana lagu guban
halkan ugu soo baxay dawladda deegaanka canfarto annaga nagu tilmaamay argagaxo ka imatay maxay ahayday xamar iyo maaragtay Puntland iyo Somaliland iyo ciidamada Djibouti oo soo weerartay ay yiraahdeen baan anagu inaan uga jawaabno halkan waxaan nahay dadkii maaragtay xoolo dhaqatada ree maaragtay gobolka City baan nahay xasuuqa ay mas'uuliyiinta kililka canfarto xasuuqa ay shacabka iyaga ku hayaan inaan ka soo horjeesano maaragtay inaan cambaaraynaan halkan ugu soo baxnay
saaka waxaan soo baxnay inaan ka soo horjeedno dhiiga ku daadanaya galbeedka gobolka City ku daadanaya ee lagu leynayo maatida iyo haweenka caruurta ee aanan lala dagaalamayn rag kula soo dagaalamay aan la dagaalamayn ee la gaadaya waliba ayaan ka soo horjeednaa waxa kale oo ka soo horjeednaa idaacadaha had iyo jeer propagandada sheegaya ee Etoobiyada ee SBC iyo kamida ayaa ka soo horjeednaa propagandada ay sheegayaan
sidoo kale magaalada Dirdhaba ayaa boqolaal kamid ah shacabka Soomaalida ku dhaqan magaaladaasi oo dhalinyaro u badan ay isugu soo baxeen afaafka hore ee xafiiska duqa magaalada Dirdhaba iyagoo socod ku maray qaar kamid ah wadooyinka waaweyn ee magaalada waana kuwan qaar kamid ah dhalinta Dirdhaba ee banaanbaxaasi ka qayb galaysa oo dareenkoodana la wadaagay
waxaan diidanahay oo taageero u muujinaynaa dadkayga la xasuuqay 12 bilood ee u dambeysay waxa xasuuqaya jabhadda canfarta iyo dawladda deegaanka canfarta oo ciidamadooda liyu booliska ugu horeeyaan iyo jabhad kale oo ka yimaatay waddanka Eritrea waxay xasuuqayaan dad maatiya oo isku jira hooyooyin dhalinyaro iyo maxay ahayd dad birmageyda ah waxa xasuuq baan loo geystay dad ay ilaa hadda tiradooda lagu qiyaasay 300 oo qof waxa ku naf waayay in ka badan 300 oo qof haddana waxa la propagandeynayaa oo isir nacayb iyo Soomaali nacayb ay idaacadaha Itoobiya iyo waddanka oo dhani ay dhinac ka mareen dadka Soomaaliyeed ee maatida ay la xasuuqayo
aan maaha waxa nala dagaalamaya deegaanka canfarta oo kaliya waxaan leeyahay waxa nala dagaalamaya waa TPLF iyo kil amxara oo iyaga oo u xaqlinaya dhinaca deegaanka canfarta waxaan leenahay anaguna maanta waxaan ku leenahay deegaanka canfarta anagu ciiso kaliya maniina Soomaali baan nahay dhammaan deegaanka Soomaalida Etoobiyana waxaan leenahay wali garabkiina aad u maan aragay na soo muuqdo garabkayga soo joogsadaan leenahay waxaan kaloo sidoo kale leenahay maaha cunduufi iyo cadiid iyo garbiciiso kaliya dhulki lagu daray sida xaqdarada loogu daray deegaanka canfarta maaha waxa ay xasuuqayaan deegaanka canfartu waxay soo galeen ilaa 70 kilomitir oo kamid ah gobolka City waxay rabaan inay fashiliyaan isbedelka deegaanka iyo dalka Itoobiya ka haran qaaday oo maxaan ku dhahanay kuwaas oo ay wakiil u yihiin ama ay hor socdaan TPLF waxaan leenahay anagu waan ka soo horjeednaa
dawladda waxaan u sheegaynaa Soomaaliyeed Aadan Faarax iyo Mustafa meesha waxay ku fadhiyaan waa Soomaali haddii u dhaqan waayaan waxa weeyaan wax kale la arkaya waa in loo dhaqadaa maamulka hadda jiro meesha ka jiro waxa lagu keenay in ummadda wax u qabtaan inay ka aamusaan dhibaatada baan lagu hayo beelahaas oo jaarka ah oo hantidooda iyo waxooda la baabiyey inay ka aamusaan ka hadli waayaan waa dhibaato weeye
banaanbaxan maanta iskugu soo banaanbaxnay waxa weeyaan banaanbaxan ugu helino shacabka walaalaha ee masaakiinta ee xoolo dhaqatada ku nool galbeedka City oo muddo 10 sano lagu xasuuqayo dhiigooguna daadanay wax ka hadlana la waayaan maanta u banaanbaxnay in dhiigooga la joojiyo dawladda dhaxan waxaan ugu baaqaynaa si ugu dhaqsiya badan shacabka masaakiinta xoolo dhaqatada in ay dhiigooga joojiyaan oo
warbaahintan Ethiopia in maxaan ku raacisaad waxa weeyaan EBC ያልሆነ ማስረጃ ያለለ እየተቀበሉ በሚዲያ የሚያሰራጩትን ማቆም አለባቸው። waxa weeyaan adeecadahan maxaan ku raadaay Ethiopia iyo isaad propagandahani ay shacabkan inta u yeedho beenta ay ka wareysanayso ha joojiyaan.
banaanbaxyadan oo badi ka dhacay magaalooyinka iyo degmooyinka deegaanku ka kooban yahay xukuumadda deegaankana ay ogolaatay ayaa imaanaya kadib markii mudaharaadyo kuwan la jaad ah ay toddobaadkani ka dhaceen deegaanka canfarta. mas-uuliyiinta xukuumadda deegaanka canfartana ay warbaahinta dalka mariyeen hadalla xaqiiqda ka fog oo markaasi ay buunbuuniyeen.
Good afternoon. This is Atranos Media Tigray broadcasting live from our studio. I am here today with a guest as usual. My guest today is Mohammed Awali from the United States, and he will be with me until the end of this program. So please stay with us from the beginning to the end. And while you are watching us, this media is broadcasted via satellite television, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook at the same time. So wherever you are watching us from, please try to help us cascading this information to reach out to as many members of the international community as possible. Mohammed, thank you so much and welcome for coming to help us with the current crisis in Ethiopia.
Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to say, in the name of Allah, the merciful, the magnificent, I would like to thank you, Addis, for this opportunity once again, and I'm grateful. And I would like to say hi to all your viewers, particularly the people of Tigray and the people of Somalis in Ethiopia, especially those who are been under constantly attack of mortals, drones, airplanes in Makale, in Adigrat, in Shire, in Adwa, as well as Undufo, Adetu, and City Hall. So I just want to tell them that thank you very much. Be strong, perseverance. I know you are a resilient people. So I thank you at this. I'm right here and I'm grateful.
No problem, Mohammed. Thank you so much as well, because, you know, we have to work together in order to overthrow this genocidal government. That's why we are all here. So I have seen your picture. You have been celebrating the festival of Tigray, the Ashenda, in the United States. So I have been following what you've been doing, working together with our people wherever you are. Back to the video we have been playing at the beginning, Mohammed. I need you to explain to me about the video. The young men were talking something, which the language. What is the language to begin with, and also what were they saying? Can you briefly tell us the video that has been played at the beginning of this program?
Okay, this was a demonstration, of course, anti-Abiy Ahmed government. Is particularly the massacre and the genocide committed by the Afar paratroopers and as well as the militias. You know, even there are militia coming from Eritrea, and they call Ogugumo. That's exactly as what Isaias has done, sent his troops to Tigray. He sent as well here with the help of Abiy. So the demonstration, the people were demonstrating, they were saying that we are fed up. We are no longer taking this, seeing our people slaughter for the last 11 months and been removed their land by thousands, and especially Ethiopian government watching them not doing anything about it, especially even with the help of Ethiopian army, who are aiding and abetting the Afar militia and paramilitary. So they are, you could tell their anger, their frustration, and there is a great also support of the TDF. There is another demonstration, and I also did send you as well, that occurred in Direwa. These two, they are one from Shinile, right next to Direwa, and this the last one also was from Direwa. And as you can see, there are so many of them came out, and they are tired of it. Some of it even, especially the demonstration that they had even Pandero, they had a sign saying that we support TDF and the genocide in Tigray and the genocide in SITTI. Some of them, I was told, they are still in jail. And as you know, in Ethiopia, nowadays, you cannot say anything against the Abiy Ahmed government. And that, I would like to call him as it is. The guy, he's a murderer. The guy, he's a dictator, the worst dictator that Ethiopia has. And I will explain why I think he's qualified to be the worst leader that ever come. I don't even think that he's qualified to be called a leader, really, because he's not been elected. The way I heard one particular Somali former local minister of Somali state, he escaped from the country right now. He was speaking and talking on social media the other day. This guy, what he said was I was so flabbergasted, because what he said, Abiy, he was in his office. I came along with Mustafa Agjar. We came to visit his office. He said he summoned to us. He got a phone call from the head of the Afar state, Awal Arba'a. That was last year, he says. He picked up the phone call, and Awal Arba'a told him how many, over 400 people they massacred in a town called Garbaise. And he was so excited, he says. The guy lifted up his face so happy. So I was shocked. I said, this guy is a psychopath. If he's happy, people dying. So obviously, that's why he's not doing anything. That's why he ordering the young Ethiopians to die in Tigray. That's why he's ordering airplanes, drones to bombard schools, hospitals. So I believe this man, he is a psychopath, and he needs to be stopped.
Great. Okay, and there is another video which I will be playing. You will also need to tell us about this video. This young girl is
magaaladii dal la helay oo gubanaysa guryihiina kuwa saa u gubanaya.
dagaal aad u culus ayaa ka socda galbeedka gobolka City, gaar ahaan magaalooyinka dan la helay kaasoo u dhexeeya dadka shacabka Soomaalida ee galbeedka gobolka City iyo ciidamada maleeshiyaadka ee deegaanka Anfarta. sida ay wararku sheegayaan, ciidanka deegaanka Anfarta ayaa weerarkani ku soo shacabka ee ku nool magaalooyinkaasi. dhimashada iyo dhaawaca ka dhashay dagaalkan ayaan weli si rasmi ah loo shaacin.
Okay, I will bring it up again. I try to play it. The video is a young girl. Let me see. Okay, can you explain? There's a young girl crying. Tell me where that young girl is from and why is she crying? Tell me the story about that girl.
Okay, this is a little girl. She's not even, I think, yet 10 years old. When she's from the town called Danlehele. And the Danlehele is a part of the city DDS. Unfortunately, when the Afar paramilitary, Ethiopian army, and the militia, when they came and invaded the city or the town of Danlehele, they wiped out hundreds of women and children. Her parents and her siblings were part of them, and her whole family was killed. She was the only one remain. So sad.
Where exactly this place
It occurred. It's called Dunleheli, the city of Dunleheli. It's very well known to the Somali state of the Kiln, Somali Kiln.
Okay, let's just see this.
magaaladii dan la helay oo gubanaysa guryihiina kuwa saa gubanayay
dagaal aad u culus ayaa ka socda galbeedka gobolka City gaar ahaan magaalooyinka dan la helay iyo Candhuufe Macaan kaasoo u dhaxeeya dadka shacabka Soomaalida ee galbeedka gobolka City iyo ciidamada maleeshiyaadka ee deegaanka Canfarta.
Carry on, Mohammed. This is a girl that was crying here.
She's the only one remain in her family. Her entire family was wiped out. They were killed
by the Ethiopian armies.
Ethiopian army, along with the Afar paramilitary and their militias. And as you can see, that's the town of Dunleheli, and they burned down the whole city. Thousands and thousands who live there, they run away. Now they are in the refugees in their own country, in their own land, misplaced. Their land has been grabbed. And Abiy is so excited. He never talk about it. Ethiopia, that's why the woman who were talking about, even in Amharic, she was talking about why the Ethiopian media are not covering. Because they don't want to cover. And I'm really grateful at this. Now a lot of Ethiopians and a lot of people all over the world will see this. Only because in Somali, that's why the only audience who had the privilege or the chance of seeing are Somalis. But now everybody will be able to see it. But that's Ethiopia. That's the aftermath of Abiy regime. Why Ethiopian people are watching this? Why are not doing anything? Why people are afraid? Are they really waiting this man to become another Hitler? He already killed under his order thousands and thousands of young men and women. Not only the Somalis, as we all know in Tigray, Beneshagul. This is the saddest thing that's going on as we speak. And I wonder even why the international community are not doing anything about it. Why people are talking about nonsense. They're only talking about Ukraine. I will not matter. Why not the Tigray people matter? Why not the Somali people matter? That's the question I would like to ask the Biden administration. And I would like people to share with the American government, European government. Please share it and send it to the officials, ambassadors, even ministers, because they need to see this. Because otherwise, we will not believe them. If they tell us anything other than the reality, we will tell them, you guys, you are not telling the truth. You are not truthful. You've been a hypocrite. You are allowing and watching. So are we going to be the museum pieces later on, or your history books? How much a bunch of Africans is slaughtering themselves, or are we part of the statistic of eugenicists who wish to see Africans being eradicated on this earth, so that you could come and move into African land and grab the land? No. So this is really sad. What is going on, and they're watching. And the guy, he's wearing a different suits, like he's an actor or not. Abiy, please stop the genocide.
Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you very much, Mohammed. As you have been witnessing in the last few days, he has been bombarding innocent civilians in the town of Maqale 3 times, and then Shirey twice, just last night. And God knows where he's going to do the same thing again. So the international community have been welcoming the message of the Tigray government, who have been willing to negotiate and sit down and resolve this matter peacefully. But the Abiy Ahmed government, in response, has been killing innocent civilians when he supposed to be complying with the international community. So the international community, who have been welcoming the invitation of the Ethiopian government for the peaceful negotiation, have not said anything after the bombardment of the civilians. What do you say about that?
Well, I think it's a lip service. They paid a lip service. I remember even a few days ago, there was a peace negotiation in Djibouti. Guess who broke the peace? There was no any peace. They refused. The Ethiopian section, the two general, they don't have a say. They refuse even to negotiate the basic that at least the TDF wanted. Stop the genocide, open the humanitarian line, bring back the telephone line, electricity, open the banking. Then there will be that you will see a good sign. That's a good sign, a good faith of starting a peace. But he doesn't want that. What he wants, Abiy, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, he wants to take time. He wants to buy time. Just like last time. He wants, whenever he sees his army been defeated, humiliated, pushed out of the Tigray towns, pushed out of all the way to Amhara region, then he will come because he's afraid you gotta come to Addis. Then he will say, "Oh, I want peace." He's making a phone call with everywhere. But the peace that he wants to buy time so that he could go and get more drones. He could go and get more weapons. That's his peace. This man doesn't need. He doesn't want peace. He doesn't want peace at all. If anybody believes that, and I hope the Tigray administration will swallow that. The guy, unless he's been removed by force, he will not accept that. Either the Ethiopian army in themselves, if they don't remove him, or the Ethiopian people will not remove him, they will regret it in the history. Tomorrow, they will regret it because he's going to kill, because of his foolishness, thousands and millions of Ethiopians will die. And they're gonna feel ashamed when they see, because why would anyone allow the glory of one man, a psychopath, to allow him letting people die because he's a psychopath. He enjoys blood. I was surprised when that Somali guy, a former local minister, the state minister, says that how he was shocked, how he was so happy. You know what he did to Agjar, Mustafa Agjar, the puppet of the Jigjiga.
Yeah.
He brought to Addis in his office, he forced him to eat a raw meat. You know, the Somalis or the Muslims, they don't eat raw meat and anjera. He forced them to eat. That's what he said, this guy. Just to humiliate him, because he refused. At least maybe he said, "Lord, we have to stop, the fighting in the Somali side," because he was worried the hundreds of people were dying. He forced him eating the raw meat. That's what he says. That guy. It's all over social media.
Okay.
So that tells me who this guy Abiy is. As we talked about the last time.
Yeah.
This guy came to power while Ethiopia was in peace. There was no fighting. There was a demonstration, of course. And every people in the world, they have a right to demonstrate. They have a right to voice their political opinion. But there was a transition, a peaceful transition. The government, the Ethiopian economy was good. Now, $100 US dollar is 8,000 beer, more than 8,000 beers. What are you going to buy with 8,000 beer? 100 US dollars. Why? Because of the war that he started in Tigray. Many people misconstrued, or they do that purposely. Why this war started. I will tell you if you give me a few minutes. If you give me a few minutes.
Yeah, come.
This is what happened. I'm one of the few, I will say, who are closely following the Ethiopian politics, because something happens in Ethiopia, it affects all of us. It affects Somalia, it affects Djibouti, it affects in Kenya, the whole East Africa. This is what happened. This guy, Abiy, he's so insecure. He was worried the election. They told him, okay, all the opposition party, they told him, we would like to see an election. Please do not touch the constitution. He wanted to amend or change the article of election. They told him this is not the time. Let's do it after the election. He came up with an excuse saying, okay, and until June of 2021, because of the local fighting and what have you, we need to just give a time. And they said, okay, the opposition, I'm talking about the TPLF at the time, two an Oromo opposition party, one Amhara opposition party, they were all there. Then what he says, okay, because due to a COVID-19, let's give me until August 31st. You remember?
Yeah, I remember that. He extended it from May to August, and then from August to indefinite extension. That's when the Tigray government decided to carry on with the election.
The Tigray state, they said no. If it passed after the August 31st, we will have our election. They didn't say we want to fight. They didn't say we will kill you. They didn't say that.
Nothing at all.
They just held that election. What did he do? He was pretending to be George Bush. He came to Ethiopian TV, and you know what he says? This guy is a clown. He came, he said, Operation Law and Order. We have to attack Tigray. I said, oh my God, what is this guy doing? He had all the opportunity for him to even stay in power more than 10 years. Even if he held the election.
He could have stayed in power, yes.
Exactly. At that time, he was so lucky. He was groomed. He was given a perfect public relation. This guy, he was given the image of flamboyant, young, futuristic African leader. He didn't grab that opportunity. What did he do?
Yeah.
Look at it now, what he did in Ethiopia. Ethiopia went back during to Derg. I remember I was a young man. I came to visit 1983 from Djibouti to Dire. I came back to Dire, 1983. My goodness, it was depressing. And I don't know if you remember, at that time, every young man and woman was afraid going to the north. They used to call it Bahrawi. Because that's the draft. They were drafted to that. He brought back, there was a young man a week ago who came back to Djibouti and Dire. You know what he told me? You remember the last time you were in Dire, Addis? I was there 2008. He said, if you see now, my goodness, people cannot even afford the bread.
Yeah, I know. The election that you were talking about earlier on, the reason why he was not happy for the Tigray government to carry on and do the election was, his plan was to extend the election indefinitely. And then when he is ready to fabricate the election, he would not even allow TPLF to be one of the candidates in the election. He would bring his mercenaries to come and to compete the election. That was the plan. But the government of Tigray knew what his plan was. That's why they carried on and did the election they did at that time. So, this is Abiy Ahmed for you. Abiy Ahmed is always fabricating things, denying things, and he is getting away with all those lies. Just another question for you. I don't know if you have been following the media yesterday. Al Africa was the media that I saw bringing it up about Abiy Ahmed being awarded for becoming a financial reformist, Ethiopian financial reformist. As we all know, Ethiopia is, you've been just saying it a few minutes ago, Ethiopia is in a hell at the moment, economically, socially, and politically. the economic part of Ethiopia. The inflation is sky high. Those people who are earning money cannot even afford, let alone, and so many people are out of job. And while the country is in a mess, what the hell is the Djibouti government doing to reward Abiy Ahmed for his failure? How do you see this?
That's a joke. To be honest with you, giving him an award, I mean, come on. The guy, he's a disgrace, Nobel Peace Prize recipient. Even in that in itself, it's a disgrace. So now they give him another award for what? I mean, these people, what is wrong with them? They say you have to give an award someone with his result. What did he do to deserve that? You could tell these people are phony. They are not real. This is a way to create an image for each other. I mean, what does he do? He could barely even tell exactly what he has done. Ethiopia is the economy of Ethiopia is down. That's clearly, and he was even brought in Djibouti, and he was given I mean the highest level of head of state welcome in Djibouti, and that's a shame. That is a shame. Why? Because the Djiboutian President Ismail Omar Guelleh, shame on you. The man that he invited in Djibouti and gave him that much of honor, he is killing his own people. The head of the state of Djibouti, he was born in Direroa. His people, the young lady that was crying, she's probably one of his siblings. That's where his people came from, all the way to Djibouti. And the murderer who ordered the death of his own people, do you know how phony they are, these people? The people, I don't know, maybe when somebody come to power, and because Ismail Omar Guelleh has been there since May 1999. May 1999. That's sad. And he brought a criminal.
Over 23 years.
Yes, exactly. And guess what? The same Ismail Omar Guelleh, the president of Djibouti, gave an interview with French media. And the reporter who were interviewing him, his name is Francois Soudan. And that interview was French. One of the things that I would like to just highlight, he was talking about, you know, the genocide going on in Ethiopia, particularly in Tigray. But what I was so stunned, and I honestly didn't think about he will go that far. This is what he said. He said, when the reporter asked him, what do you think, what's going on, you know, the war in Ethiopia? That's how he put it. He said, well, the greatest mistake that the Western have made is equating TDF with a legitimate Ethiopian government. Which legitimate Ethiopian government, Mr. President? For God's sake, please. Who voted for Abiy? Who elected Abiy? How could it?
Nobody.
How could it be a legitimate Ethiopian government? For you, maybe, but a man who's a head of I'll call him the president, Prime Minister Death or Dr. Death. He would like to be called Dr. Abiy Ahmed. Yeah, right. I call him a Dr. Death. And he's trying to bounce back. Now what he did, President Ismail Omar Guelleh, he was a friend of the EPRDF government. I don't know if you remember that.
I do remember.
He was a very good friend. At least he was active. Now he throw them under the bus because they are no longer in power. Come on. If he's a visionary leader, he would think beyond today.
Tell me about the Isa population. The Isa population in Djibouti. What did he do to them? Isa is the second largest population in Djibouti, as you know. And this is Isa in Djibouti, Isa in Somalia, and Isa in Ethiopia. This Isa population, who are the second largest population in Djibouti, are not welcomed. They are being arrested and killed by their own government. What is the cause for that? Why do you think that is happening?
Well, I don't know why. That's why everybody really is surprised why he's not doing anything. Even his friend, so-called the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, came to the Parliament of Ethiopia. He came to the Parliament. You know what he said? Even the last time I talked about it, he says, remember, Afars are peaceful, the Isas are the troublemakers.
Who said that?
Afarot salam no, salam nacho, Isa rabshanya nacho. Excuse me with my Amharic.
That's fine. Was that Ismail Abergele? Is the one who said that, or?
No, Abiy said that in the Parliament of Ethiopia.
Say that. Really?
Yes, yeah. Inside in Ethiopia, how could he be a responsible leader? When
Why
did
is he getting involved?
Exactly. Why would he get involved? The only thing that he will get involved is order his army to stop the Afar killing and slaughtering and murdering the innocent people. As you see, that young lady, she's the only person remaining in her family. The rest of and I'm not surprised it happened exactly the same thing, because even the worst thing is in Shire, Adigrat, Magale, Adwa, all those towns, even in small towns, he's bombarding them. How many young girls, young boys in that age in Tigray who do not have parents today, who do not have their parents were killed, their brother, sister were killed.
Yeah, no one.
And they think it's a politics. They think it's a joke. It's a death. And they give him an award for what? Because he's the best killer. Why are not these people why are they insulting us, and they insulting the people who's been murdered every day? That's why everybody in Djibouti and even abroad, especially the Somali Isas, because I don't know why even Abiy choose to separate. He's playing the same tactic and short-sighted political game of Haile Selassie during Naftanya. The Haile Selassie, he came up with this idea, dividing the Somalis. He called it he called it Ogaden and Isa and Gurgura Auraja, because he was dividing. This guy
divide and rule tactic. Yeah.
Exactly. He has the same mentality of Naftanya. That's why they're promoting one Ethiopia. Ethiopia took them. You remember?
Haile Selassie was a divide and rule leader. He was dividing all Ethiopia, and then he was looking like as if he was a religious person. But he was a very clever man. Even though I don't like his administration, he was a very clever man. He knows how to divide and rule the people. Abiy Ahmed has got no idea how to even do that. He lies and fabricates things, and he doesn't even know. You remember when Semenyo Bekele was killed? He was in USA at the time. He did not even try to fake it. He just said the man who is called Semenyo Bekele, he was kind of undermining it. He was not even bothered to go back to Ethiopia and share the grief the family was sharing. But from the way he was talking, you can tell he was the one who killed Semenyo, the engineer Semenyo, the manager of the Renaissance Dam. So he kind of tried to be as clever as Haile Selassie and others. But not anywhere near to them. He only knows so. As you said at the beginning, he could have led Ethiopia for 10 consecutive years without any single shot, without any.
If he was clever, if he was smart, but he's not
clever enough. But he messed his chances and everything. So moving forward, as you know, the country is divided. In every part of the country there is a war. In every part of the country, the genocidal crime being committed by his armies. So the people of Ethiopia, in every part of Ethiopia, some of them, there are still parents who are sending their children, as you will see, the captured men and women by the TDF who were being seen on a TV in Tigray. It's unimaginable. They are 16 and 15 years old boys who have been sent to war. So what is the message for these parents who are sending their kids for this kind of war?
Well, my message is very clear, really, and I would like to address directly to the parents of Ethiopians. It doesn't matter what nationality or what ethnic they belong to. What I'm saying is, do not let your kids sent to Tigray by this madman. This guy is a psychopath. He's not the one who's doing the fighting. He's a coward. But if you send, and if he try to make look bad the Tigray people today and sending your kids over there, and you don't even see their dead bodies. So for what? Please use your mind, use your judgment. I know if he forces you, I heard that in some small towns in Ethiopia, they forcing the army are forcing they're drafting them by force to join and send them to Tigray. But do not allow, if you guys get together, all parents, especially I'm talking about mothers, in Addis, in every city of Ethiopia, and you stand up and protest it and come to the street, on the street, he will not be able to kill you, all of you. He cannot do that. Bring your banners, bring your kids and say no more. Enough is enough. You have to choose between your kids dying every single day and this coward being in the palace. Because he's not the one who's doing the fighting. His kids are not dying, but he enjoys blood. So I am asking, for God's sake, stand up for yourself. Stand up for yourself. If you don't do that, then you will be a widower. You will be losing your kids. Your sister will be orphaned. Your brothers will be orphans. And even some of them may never walk again, even if they survive. But do something about it. Even I'm talking about the entire Ethiopian population. Please stand up against with this madman. He's a psychopath. The man I'm talking about, a witness who were there with him in his office, who saw his face, how he was so excited hearing people dying. Because if this guy healthy as you think he is, he would never let what he led to Ethiopia as it is. Look at it. Please do not forget that little girl. Her entire family was wiped by the Afar paramilitary, their militia, and Ethiopian army. What do you expect? That's the message that what I will send to them.
Thank you so much, Mohammed. And also, as you have touched it earlier on a little bit, the international community has been ignoring all his genocidal crimes. As you know, independent investigators were allocated, the budget was allocated by the United Nations General Assembly. At that time, Abiy Ahmed shamefully asked for the United Nations General Assembly to block the budget because he did not want anyone to investigate the crime, except Daniel Bekele, which is handpicked by him. So the investigation is not taking place. The Abiy Ahmed crime is mounting higher and higher. Again, he is doing it over and over again, because he has been getting away with all his genocidal crimes. Now, I believe it is about time for the international community to wake up, tell him to stop. Otherwise, there are charters after charters in the United Nations document, which discusses all about protection of civilians. Chapter 7 of Chapter 7 of the United Nations article clearly says about protection of civilians, but they are not applying that principle on the people of Tigray, on the people of Ethiopia in general. What do you say to the international community? What is your message to them? They are not doing what they're supposed to be doing.
It's very sad, really. Even I spoke to recently with a friend of mine. His name is Brother Jeff, and I did send you. I don't know if you had the chance to. He's a very advocate for Tigray, and he's very, very well known here in the state of Colorado. And he asked me that question, and I will say it exactly. I think the international community are being phony. They are being hypocrite. They play the hypocrisy, because they're talking about how the Ukrainian people were massacred, killed by Putin and his army. They want to make us believe, and they want to make us think that the only people who are dying are Ukrainians. But what about us? What about the Ethiopian people? What about the Tigray genocide? What about the Somalis? Because they could care less. I'm very active to Twitter. I write about Twitter mostly every single day, because right there is everybody in there. There is everybody in Twitter. I talked about it. I write about it on behalf of ISA Defense Council, who appointed me, who asked me to represent them and speak on their behalf. I wrote numerous pieces in Twitter. Even I contacted the UN or some individual who are working in a human right. The title they carried, human right defender, what have you. But it seems to me that they are not really honest. I think they don't care about us. I think because we are not white, we are not Caucasian. If we were white, maybe they would have cried along with us like they're doing to Ukrainians. But we have to do something about it. And I think, in the bottom of my heart, I think the people of us, especially those who want to see peace in Ethiopia, who wants to stop the genocide in Ethiopia, I think we could collect money and hire a private lawyers and take them to the court. Because I have spoke to already a human rights lawyer here in the United States, and he gave me a very good advice. He said, do not wait U.S. government or any government for that matter in the West who will take your case, because they won't. It is political. These people are political. As long as they see their interest is in there, they will never do anything about it. One thing I would encourage you, he says, raise money, hire people like me, then we will look for, if you guys have relatives, people who've been genocide, like for instance, Addis, if you have relatives in Makale or Adigrat or Shire who've been killed by the airplane or the drone of Abiy, then you will represent those people. You take their case on their behalf. He said that the United States government will accept that. Not the United States government, sorry, the United States court. Even at the federal level, as well as even UK, that could be possible. We have to do it as a community. Raise funds, hire lawyers, and take to the court these murderers who are freely. The reason that he's doing this, because he signed American company, the gas, the Somali gas. You know, the gas, the previous government were giving the Chinese contractor and explore that gas. That's what he gave the U.S. company. So because of that, they really don't care. Some of them, they even tell you, so what? What is new? Bunch of Africans killing each other, genociding each other, murdering each other. So what? It's nothing new. As a matter of fact, some of them even are excited. And I would like to say even Bill Gates, he's a eugenicist. Have you ever heard any of them talking about how to vaccinate the Ethiopian people because of the COVID-19? No, because Abiy is doing them a favor. He's making them easy. He's killing a lot of Ethiopians. He's committing genocide. So that's what they want. Probably, in my understanding, they could care less. We as an Africans, not even Ethiopians, we should not even limit ourselves as Ethiopians. I personally am a Pan-Africanist, but I'm a realist Pan-Africanist. I believe Pan-Africanist because Somalis and Tigray, they are closer to each other. Instead of, for me, trying to unite Somalia versus Senegal, Djibouti versus Chad, and Libya versus Liberia, we'd rather at least create a strategic unity ourselves because we are more closer to each other. But it will not be possible unless we stand up for ourselves, educate our youth. Our youth, they think joining politics is making money. It's not. Governing is making better the lives of the ordinary people, no matter what's their nationality or ethnic. So that's why these people, if I'm talking too much, I have to just limit it out there, but the West do not care about it. We must wake up. Wake up, Ethiopians, smell the coffee. They could care less. Even Africans, because we are Africans, to them, dying, even some of them, they will tell you, the white supremacists will tell you, oh, it's something that we get used to it. So what? Sorry to say that. Go ahead, Addis.
Oh, sorry. This is the article that I have been sharing. This is a United Nations article, which is United Nations Charter, Chapter 7, has got articles from Article 39 all the way until Article 51, is talking about protecting civilians. And then Article 39 says, the Security Council shall determine the existence of any threat to the peace, breach of the peace, or act of aggression, and shall make recommendations or decide what measures shall be taken in accordance with Articles 41 and 42 to maintain or restore international peace and security. So it is all there written in black and white, but they are not practically applying it to the people of Africa for the reasons that we do not know about. So as you said it, if the international community were doing their job properly, if they were applying their articles, the charters that are written by themselves in the United Nations Security Council, in the United Nations website, people of Tigray, people of Ethiopia would not have been killing each other by now. It would have stopped long time ago. We're not asking for military intervention here. We're not asking for peacekeeping mission. They could put a proper pressure. They could put a proper pressure on Abiy Ahmed. They could give him a deadline. They could tell him, if you don't comply with this, and this will be the consequential action that will be taken against you, and he would immediately stop. But what they are asking him now is, do this, do that, no consequence. Do this, do that, no deadline. They are just making phone calls, making formal and informal visits, and sending letters and emails. That is all without any consequential action. That is the reason why Abiy Ahmed is doing what he's doing now. So you are absolutely correct. The international community need to wake up and do something about it. Otherwise, the war that they think it will stay in Tigray, the war that they think it will remain in Ethiopia, is not going to be the case. It will spill to the rest of the neighboring countries, to Middle East, and probably to Europe eventually. So that is what you've said is just correct. But they are writing articles after articles, charters after charters about protection of civilians, but we did not see them taking action to protect civilians. Instead, they are siding with the dictators, with genocidal governments for some odd reasons. So if you have any final message to pass to whatever, which is that I did not ask you throughout the interview we had, so feel free to pass your message for a minute or two.
Okay, I just want to say once again, the same charters and articles that you mentioned, those are the same article and charters that they are using against Russia, especially Putin. And they're using to safeguard or to advocate on behalf of Ukrainian people. Because Ukrainian, they are Europeans and they're white. But to them, when it's come to Africa, it doesn't apply because it doesn't have any meaning whatsoever because they have no respect for us. For us, mean as an Africans, as an Ethiopian, as a Djiboutians, even for black people because they do not. For us, as an Africans, they see us an opportunity to exploit our raw materials, gas, natural gas, oil. If you have that, yes, we take it. We use your dictator. We even have to impose you a dictator, even help him as exactly they do into Abiy. But if you die in thousands, in 100,000s, in millions, so what? So that's why it is our responsibility. We have to let our voice heard. We should not be violent. We should not be silent. Especially now, the upcoming November, there will be an election in the United States, and I have to really congratulate and really applaud to the Tigray community. I know I've been in this city for many years. The reason that even I went there, I was invited. Shande, I have the gentleman that I sent you with that I was with a picture with. We used to work together back even in 90s, 99 and up to that. So I know a lot of them, a lot of Ethiopians here in Denver, Colorado. So, but they are way more well organized than us. And it's because of the leadership. The message that I would send to our community, the Somali community, especially the ones in Ethiopia, we must organize ourselves. We have to stop using Ogaden, Isa, this. No. At least the previous leadership in Somalia back then, even our parents, they worked so hard to keep us together as a Somali so that we could at least defend ourselves, the Naftanians. That's why we survived and we came to this level. But today, we become disorganized, we become weak because we don't have a good leadership. We don't have a leadership that really represent the interests of our people. Look at it. At least you've been bombarded. You've been bombarded in airplane, drones. But at least you must be proud of yourself. You have the tenacity to withstand the worst genocide in the history of mankind because of your unity. If you were not united, if you were divided, you would not have been survived. And that resiliency, that tenacity, that unity, I applaud you. And we have to learn from you guys. That's why, and thanks for you and other individuals. We have a good contact now with TDF. We have communicated because it is our strategic interest to work together if we want to defeat our common enemy. Abiy administration and his henchmen and his cronies are the enemy of Ethiopia. So the enemy of the Ethiopian people and the people of Tigray and Somalis, and even Amharas, even Afar, to me, I don't look at them as enemies. Especially the people are not. They happen to be under a ruthless dictator who wants to stay in power, so he has to use them to destroy them and to destroy Ethiopia. So we must work together, TDF and ISA Defense Council. I'm glad that we have at least a communication channel has opened, and I hope that we will expedite. For no matter what, we have to work together, not only in a short period of time, but a long term, because we have a common history. I remember even as a student of history, back in 1943, when Haile Selassie was brought to Ethiopia by the British in 1941-42. Right away, 1943, he attacked with the help of British and the French army with Tigray. He decimated. That's in the history. Then 1947, he did the same thing to Somali Isas. He decimated. Why? Because he thought, probably one of his spies told them that Italian armed the Isas as well as the Tigray, which was not true. Which is not true. He literally destroyed them. At least back then he didn't have airplanes, but that's why we have a common history, common because we've been through together. What we're going through, our parents been through, our grandparents been through. We should not let our children go through again. Enough is enough. We gotta stop this madman. Thank you very much. And I'm very grateful at this once again with this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Mohammed. You have really made very important points to the international community, to the people of Ethiopia and the people of Tigray at the same time. So yes, we have to work together, as you said. If this battle is left for the people of Tigray alone, this man will stay in power longer than he should. The longer this man stays in power, the more Ethiopians will be divided and the country will be destroyed and beyond repair. So it is on the best interest of all Ethiopian nations and nationalities to stand together and fight against this dictator. Otherwise, he has invited the Eritrean dictator, he has invited the Somalian armies to kill his own people. Al-Shabaab is 150 kilometers inside Ethiopia. He is not bothered about Al-Shabaab. He is only bothered about destroying Tigrayans. So that is his priority. So the only way to stop this man from leading is for us to work together more than ever. And as you said, we cannot afford to be united one time and not united another time. When we start becoming apart from each other, that's when he or other dictators start getting in again. So yes, working together is very important, and also with the international community, as you said, it might be, maybe if they think this war is going to remain in Tigray or in Ethiopia, for that matter, as I said it earlier, it will come.
Oh, it's already started.
Yeah.
I had to interrupt you. This I forgot this.
Yeah.
Can you imagine a head of the state of Ethiopia inviting another country, Eritrea, fighting his own citizen, telling them to kill?
Yeah, it has never been had
in
any history.
What kind of mindset is that? What kind of mindset is that?
In any country, no dictator. There are many dictators around the world. They kill their own people. They commit genocidal crime on their own people. Never invited another dictator
foreign army,
to come and kill their own people.
And inviting foreign army, Eritreans, coming into Ethiopia, killing Ethiopians. What kind of mindset is that? That but this guy, he has a hatred. He has a hatred towards the Tigray people. And he's a maniac. As I said, he's a psychopath. How could he invite another country to come and kill my own citizen? Because the Tigray people are Ethiopian too.
I forgot so much hatred. This has got so much hatred against Tigrayans. He's full of hatred. He doesn't have love in any part of his body. So he is full of hatred, and he has to kill people. As you said it at the beginning, he enjoys blood. That is what makes him happy. So if you can, I would like to give you 1 minute to pass a message to your community in your own native language, if you want.
Yeah, I want to make it short, and I think we said it perfect. We said it the best, and I hope that message will come across as we wished. And on behalf of for the grace of Allah, I'm hoping next month or next year this time we will have a peace, and we will arrest and put him in the court, Abiy, the psychopath. And I want our community to be resilient. Don't be discouraged. Don't be afraid. If you're afraid, you've been had. Don't let anybody bamboozle you. Don't let anybody intimidate you or bully you, because you are not alone. We fight back and stand up for yourself, help your people, and especially those of us in diaspora, help our people. And thank you very much. And thank you, Addis.
Thank you so much, Muhammad. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. This was myself, Addis Salam Balai, and Muhammad Awali from United States, been together with you. So we will continue sharing this platform as long as Abiy Ahmed is in power, and then once he's overthrown, we will start redeveloping our country. So those of you who have been listening our program, please share this video so that you can reach out as many members of the international community as possible.